Hello, my name is Giuseppe, and in this little video I'd like to try to show how we can enhance standard text made with the horizontal text tool. We'll use a picture of mine here as an example. By choosing the text tool, you have several options for different text processes. We'll stick with the conventional horizontal text tool. The first thing is to select the font we want, and I think rather than the one that's selected, we'll go to a bolder, and I want script. I think this will work fine. A Lobster 1.3, and the size. By the way, if you wonder how to make the samples of the various text larger so that you can really see what they're going to look like, I'm glad to show you here. Up at the top, under Edit, Preferences, and go way down here to Type, and make sure to check your font preview size and open this little box, and you have a choice to display the samples of text: small, medium, large, extra large, or huge. I like the huge because I think it's more realistic. So just a little tip I thought I'd throw in there. Anyway, going back to our text, size 80 point, and we'll see how that works. Just type a little sample here. That might work alright, so we'll keep that size. Auto is fine, regular is fine. Color, we'll be typing in blue. That can be changed. And I think rather than bold, we'll just leave it as it is. And this is left justify or right justify or center. We'll choose center, and everything else is fine. So we'll go up here and select the text tool and begin our typing. That's the description of this particular statue, and if that pleases us, we hit the green arrow to accept. Obviously, you can treat this the same way you would any other text that you just typed in. You can make it larger, smaller, move it around. You can stretch it up here if you grab like on the left corner and stretch it larger, smaller. I think for the demo here, we'll leave it about like so. You can make it taller if you like. So obviously there's quite a bit of adjustments that are available even just with the standard text. So assuming that's what we want, we'll click the green arrow and go from there. Okay, up here in Layers, I'm going down to Layer Style and over to the pop-up box to Style Setting. This gives us this pop-up box over here, and there are options in here to set the direction of the light, and 30 degrees indicates right now, and that's pretty good, that the light is coming from the upper right and going down this way toward the lower left. I think we'll leave it about like that. That should give us a shadow under the text like we're going to create. That will be about right. And it's called a drop shadow. That's what we'll be using first. So I'll click drop shadow, and that brings up 3 adjustments that we can do: size, distance, and opacity. Size actually makes the shadow a little more distinct and sharp, or a little more fuzzy, and as we'll show you here in a second. Distance decides the distance that the shadow appears from the text. If I move this to the right, you can see below at the text there, the black text is appearing behind. I'm going to increase the density here opposite of the opacity, make it less opaque, so that you can see the black shadow that we're displaying now by the distance option. And of course we can go clear to the right, and it actually leaves the screen if it goes much bigger than that. We don't want it that big. So I'll creep back slowly to the left, and we want just a subtle shadow, maybe right about there, just kind of coming off of the blue lettering. And if you can't do it critical enough by using the little dot and sliding it, you can always double click on the numbers here and increase it or decrease it however you like. We'll hit 42 and call that good. Alright, let's go back and get that same thing again. It's under layers, and it's under layer style, style settings. Alright, highlight direction is set, and the drop shadow is set. Next is glow, and the glow can be, it's a very subtle effect and can come from the inside of the lettering toward the outer part of the letters, or vice versa, from the outside in, and then you can choose that through here or here by the inner option or the outer. I don't know if it will show it very much. Yeah, you can see right there where the blue got brighter. Move to the left and it's darker, so it's very subtle. This is working from the inside of the letter out, and obviously if you go too far to the right, it does the whole letter. We don't want that, so just a tiny bit will suffice. If we did it from the outer, I'll select that instead, then we'd use these controls, and it works from the outer of the part of the letter inward, and that works like that. And I'll go back to the left. Opacity can be adjusted also. I think for this we'll leave the inner set and move on to the next option, which is bevel. Bevel is really what makes the text stand out beautifully. I've always described it as making the text look like it was overheated and got just warm enough to start melting around the edges. So when we select the bevel, oh, right there it popped into just about where I would have set it. I think it's around 12, and I think that's probably where we'll end up, but for demonstration purposes, let's move it and show you more. Well, even that is more impressive. That's around 46. If I go too far, obviously we lose the effect and it goes way out of control. If I don't go far enough, we don't see the effect at all. So I think right about there, to me, looks good, but this is your preference. Set it where you like. And you can adjust the bevel, whether it's coming from upper or lower direction. Watch the text as I click the down option. That changes it, and it makes the text look kind of hollowed out. So whatever preference pleases you, there's your choice. I like this one, so we'll leave it there. The last adjustment here is the stroke, and what that does is add an outline around each letter, and it can be used for the outline or even a backup of color if you want. Alright, we have black chosen for the outline. That can be changed to whatever color you want. I'll leave it as black and move slowly to the right, and notice if you go too far you get that effect, and again gradually moving to the left it reduces the black outline until you get to the stage where it pleases you, and you stop there. Opacity can be changed also of the black outline by moving this slider to the left, and the black becomes less obvious, so you can move it to where it's practically not there at all the way to the right where it's very prominent. So that's the adjustments that are available in the style settings pop up here: drop shadow, glow, bevel, and stroke. When you get the text to the point that you're satisfied with, you can hit the OK, and there you go. Click off of it. And of course, if you decide at a later time after you've worked on this that you want to go back in there and change something, beautiful thing about layers, we have some extra layers that were created here just as we started this. You can access the same settings in fact more than one way. You can go back up here to layer where we originally got it from, and down to layer style and over to style settings, and that brings the same box up again. Second way you can do it, right click on the text itself, moving on down toward the bottom, and select edit layer. That brings it up. And even a third way, when we created the text, it started the action with this layer, and it added the little letters here, FX, right here on the right side of that layer. If you double click on that, that also brings up the options to make your changes. So you can change the color, you can change the size, you can do whatever you like, and by going back to the text tool after this is out of here, go back in there and you can make your changes if you want. Select A on the keyboard, click on the text first and then do a select A and make your changes to whatever color you want and anything else. OK it, and then bring up your style selection box and make your necessary changes. So that's actually pretty much concludes this demonstration, and obviously you would probably have this smaller. You could reduce the size also the same way by selecting it. So until we get into another text purpose, use, whatever, from some of the other texts excuse me, text options, we'll terminate this before I get my tongue tied into a knot here. So this is Giuseppe saying so long until next time. Thank you.